At it again, and I saw the title of this video and I just automatically was like, oh yeah, I have to check out this video. I have to. As you can see at the top of the screen, Pete Buttigieg finds racism in traffic fatalities. Leave it to the left to come up with racism in traffic fatalities. I'm like, oh my goodness, like, this stuff. Hopefully I'm not the only one that gets frustrated when they see stuff like this. You know, Democrats, leftists trying to pander to folks. Racism and traffic fatalities. So, like, you know, cars say, you know what, there's a black person sitting behind the wheel. I think I'm going to crash and burn today. Or, I don't know, drunk drivers say, hey, you know, I see a black person behind the wheel of, you know, that car, you know, 5 cars back. I'm going to run into them and not somebody else. You know, oh, man. This has to be absolutely ridiculous. So, buckle your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen. Like, share, comment. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. And I'm sure we are going to be in for a wild ride in this one. Let's dive in.
We've got a crisis when it comes to roadway fatalities in America. We lose about 40,000 people every year. It's a level that's comparable to gun violence. And we see a lot of racial disparities. Black and brown Americans.
Of course. Y'all see who he's talking to. Y'all see who he's talking to. Oh, my goodness. Where do I even begin with this guy? You know something's great. You know something that's crazy about this guy right here? Mr. Al Sharpton. Has anybody ever seen him in Chicago? I'm just asking. Can anybody, a single person watching, can anybody show me one single video of this man in Chicago, aka Chirac? Can anybody? When's the last? Matter of fact. I got another question. If you couldn't answer that one, can you answer this one? When's the last time you seen this gentleman, this black gentleman here, at the scene of a black on black murder? Can anybody tell me? Because this guy claims, at least as far as I know, you know, he allegedly, you know, cares about the black community, loves black folks. You know, I don't know the man from a can of paint. You know, I don't know him. You know, this is just my opinion. You know, so he claims to allegedly care about black folks, but I've just personally never seen. Maybe he has. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but I've never seen him in Chirac. I've never seen him at the scene or, you know, at the location or city where, you know, a black on black incident happened, like a recent incident that involved, I believe, a bunch of 16-year-olds. There were some black gentlemen who went and did some terrible things with some firearms at that location, but that wasn't mainstream news. I didn't see this guy's face there, or Pete's, or anybody's for that matter. And you know the shameful part? They know the game that they're playing, in my humble opinion. They know the game. And the reason why, I think part of the reason why they can play the game so well, and I say the game, you know, this whole, you know, I'm going to make a scene when it's a white person that shoots a black person, like the recent situation that happened with the black kid that went to the wrong address, and, you know, the owner ended up shooting the kid, I think in the head or something. And, you know, the left made a whole big situation about that. But the situation I just described to you guys about the black kids shooting other, you know, black kids, nobody talked about it. They play that game. You know, they talk about one thing a whole lot and don't say anything about this other scene. But I think part of the reason why they're able to do that is because I feel like my personal opinion is that mainstream media is in bed with the left. They do the left's bidding. And the left knows, hey, I don't have to say anything about this because mainstream media isn't going to. Fox, maybe, which Fox is obviously a big network, but when you only have Fox or what's the other, I think Newsmax is the other place. When you only have like Fox and Newsmax, highlighting, the discrepancies in the left's reporting, and you have the rest of mainstream media plus social media, and everybody in between, covering for the left, then, you get this gap in information. So I think that's part of the reason, which that needs to be corrected. I think we need to get back to unbiased news. If you're going to call yourself a news station or a news channel, it needs to be unbiased news. That should be a law. Genuinely. That should legitimately be a law, in my humble opinion, that the news has to simply be the news. We don't care about your political opinions or affiliations. If you start leaning left or even right, you will no longer be considered the news, and we will title you as such. But that's just my humble opinion. What do y'all think? Let's jump back into this. Sorry that was long-winded. I know. I just get so frustrated seeing this kind of stuff.
Tribal citizens and rural residents much more likely to lose their lives.
Run this back.
Gun violence. 1,000 people every year. It's a level that's comparable to gun violence. And we see a lot of racial disparities. Black and brown Americans, tribal citizens, and rural residents much more likely to lose their lives, whether it's in a car or as a pedestrian being hit by a car. There are a lot of reasons related to discrimination, related to
like what?
The ways that roads are designed and built, who has access to a safe street design that's got crosswalks and good lighting, and who doesn't have that access.
I mean, I've personally seen some very well-off neighborhoods that don't have sidewalks. I'm sure you guys have seen the same thing, like some high-end neighborhoods with some high-valued homes that don't have sidewalks and people just walk in the street. Well, there aren't too many people walking in the street, but if you did want to walk down, down the block or whatever, you'd have to walk in the street. So what are you talking about, Pete? And I could prove this. Like, I could literally go take a picture. I could literally go to those neighborhoods and take pictures and prove it. Like, that is a fact. That can't be refuted. And I'll take a picture of the homes and all y'all be like, oh my goodness, what? Yeah, that house is there. No sidewalk here. So, like, I'm just, this guy. I don't understand.
That can drive disparities, and we have a responsibility to act on that.
If a highway was built for the purpose of dividing a white and a black neighborhood, or if an underpass was constructed such that a bus carrying mostly black and Puerto Rican kids to a beach, or there would have been, in New York was designed too low for it to pass by, that obviously reflects racism that went into those design choices. I don't think we have anything to lose by confronting that simple reality, and I think we have everything to gain by acknowledging it and then dealing with it, which is why the Reconnecting Communities, that $1 billion, is something we want to get to work right away, putting to work.
But that's such a heavy lift. I mean, you have to reconstruct communities that this happened to. As you said, some of these beltways and interstates and roadways were built before the Civil Rights Act, before the Voting Rights Act, and were meant to be racist. But how do you go about redefining and replanning these roadways and communities that are already settled in? Since then.
So what's interesting is it's going to vary by community, and we have to listen to the community. Sometimes it really is the case that an overpass went in a certain way that is so harmful that it's got to come down or maybe be put underground. Other times, maybe it's not that way. Maybe the really important thing is to connect across it, to add rather than subtract. And that's where we don't want to impose a one-size-fits-all answer from here. But when we were out in Syracuse, for example, looking at I-81, we saw the local vision for how they want to get past those divisions, and those local ideas are going to be taken very seriously as we try to meet the spirit of this law.
Buttigieg discovered that some of the
take it away, Tucker. I'm sorry I cut you off, brother.
Ideas are going to be taken very seriously as we try to meet the spirit of this law.
Buttigieg discovered that some of the roads he was supposed to be overseeing the roads he was now secretary of, were in fact racist. And not just low-grade, got drunk and wrote an insensitive Facebook post 10 years ago racist. Not that kind of racism, no. These were hardcore David Duke-level, nasty old segregationist roads. These were roads that refused to respond to reason and clearly had no intention of changing and joining the 21st century. Some of these roads literally had white stripes painted on them. White stripes. Jim Crow stuff. Buttigieg seems shocked by the whole thing. They don't have roads like that back in South Bend, Indiana.
Yeah, isn't Pete the same guy where the city he was mayor of had a bunch of potholes or something? Pothole Pete. I think I remember hearing a story about that. Y'all let me know in the comment section. But I mean, my goodness, you know, if that story is true, I mean, the same guy that took, I mean, I don't know how long that was when the whole train derailment in Ohio happened. How long was that before Pete showed up? Like 2 weeks, week and a half, you know, only after, you know, everybody on social media and the mainstream media started talking about it did he ever even think about showing up to that site of that tragedy, which, you know, I have my thoughts and my opinions on why that was. One, obviously, because he's terrible at his job, in my humble opinion. But, you know, didn't we have a situation with some airplanes that, you know, that something with the aviation going on, like stuff got shut down or something? You know, this guy, oh, man. Jeez Louise. Train derailments every other week, which, according to statistics, we've actually had a lot more train derailments than what I knew in the past. But still, you would think somebody at some point would you know, fix the situation. If we got trains falling over every single week or however often it is, it's way too often in my humble opinion. If that is happening and you are in charge of all of this, you would think you would put priority on making sure that our trains can get from one location to the other without falling off the darn tracks and spilling all types of chemicals all over the place. But no, we're more concerned with racist highways. Man, how ridiculous. I can't wait for this nightmare to be over. I really can't wait. 2024. Trump, baby. Like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Peace and love. I'm out.